disguised as just another regular season SEC competition between the Oklahoma Sooners as they host the Ole Miss Rebels. A critical showdown inside McCaslin Fieldhouse. Welcome inside, everybody. Kevin Barnett alongside Missy Whittemore. Missy, people may not understand why these matchups are so important. Where do they echo later?
I'll tell you what, both of these teams are going to have opportunities for those big, significant wins in SEC play. But come December, what may be even more important, how well do these teams take care of their business in the heart of SEC play? So for two teams who are hopeful to return to the NCAA tournament, matches like today are magnified.
Both teams not only went to the tournament, but picked up wins last year. And if Ole Miss is going to do that again, it's going to be behind Mokihana Tafono and Gabby Placide.
They don't return much offense, but they do return a veteran setter, and they have added a huge piece out of the portal in Placide, and this connection is already off and running. Not only is she comfortable both sides of the court from both pins, but her attack out of the back row really helps them to establish the middle of the court.
Yeah, they want to establish the middle of the court, and on the other side, a rather unique approach, an innovative approach to middle hitting is being deployed by Oklahoma.
This is going to be a lot of fun to watch today. What you're going to see is the nuances of what is called a drift route. And they are subtle, but they wreak havoc on the block. It's all about the takeoff point, which is about 2 feet away from the setter, and the landing point, because after they take off, they will either drift away or toward the setter, and it leaves that middle blocker, as you can see, guessing which way they should go. We're expecting Ole Miss early on to take away the angle and leave that cross body swing into right back for their defenders to try to take care of. Will that be effective, or will they have to make changes? Kelly Jo Burgess, hitting .467 in the pre-conference, has really been able to implement these routes with great success.
Something that's been imported from the international game and brought down to the level of women's college. That filtration from international to national organizations is pretty common, and Oklahoma on the cutting edge of that. Avaya Mega back to get us started for the Sooners. And we're underway here in this hugely important match. Ole Miss coming in 0-1, and right away they are down the middle of the court with Shayla Meyer. Big, huge cut. No touch detected, but you have to like the aggression from Takoya Barnes.
And Kevin, right away you mentioned the middle of the court. It's a really important piece for Ole Miss. They say they like to be middle third driven, but because they lost 2 very experienced middle blockers, that middle attack is still a work in progress, and the BIC becomes a big part of their attack.
Gabby Placide first serve has Oklahoma off balance, and the block is right there. First stuff block. That'll be Tessa Jones with the left hand.
There you see Tessa Jones wearing 12 for the Rebels. She has really had to wait her turn playing behind the likes of Ratliff and Burgach, 2 huge names for Ole Miss over the last 4 years in the middle. And Tessa Jones, as you'll see with her slide approach and the things she does, she mirrors their game quite well.
Averaging almost a block a set. That ball is well long from Placide, the Colorado native, on her second service attempt. Head coach Bree Henry saying Placide is playing the level she deserves to be at, where her game belongs. Emily Bush back to serve for the Sooners. There's a look at Bree Henry, now in her 3rd season at Ole Miss. Native of Redding, California, played collegiately at Long Beach State, got recruited to play at Long Beach out of a camp that was advertised in the back of a magazine. Yes, kids, that's how they used to do it. That ball out of the middle back. That feature for Ole Miss looking good early. She became a 3-year starter, did Bree Henry, at the opposite position. Went on to play pro a couple of seasons, and now at the reins for the 3rd year for Ole Miss. Oklahoma, this tough pass and over the top. They have some strength at the pin attack, Missy.
And that's your first look at Alexis Shelton. She is a National Player of the Year candidate based on the huge numbers she put up last year for Oklahoma. The good news is she has so much more support this season that I'm not sure I expect her to see her with as big a numbers, and that's actually a positive for Oklahoma. They won't have to rely solely on her attack. I think her efficiency will be even better, but they certainly are pin dominant.
A miss there off the jump serve of Takoya Barnes, a caller T. That has been a newfound weapon this year for Oklahoma. Ole Miss may have dodged one there.
Yeah, Barnes, only a freshman at Boynton Beach, Florida, and really having herself a great start.
I know you love those Florida players, 3-time National Player of the Year in that region. As teams trade service errors here. Ole Miss coming off a loss to Arkansas in 5. On the other side for Oklahoma, they were victorious in their first round of the SEC play on Friday night. They defeated LSU. They had a 6-2 ace advantage. Harper Hall a part of that, picking up 3. That ball tight into the 3-person block, and that's a feature. Erin Mansfield, not only with the innovative offensive approach, but also stressing 3-person blocking. The one-time All-American libero at UC Santa Barbara, took his cultural anthropology degree and brought it to the men's side at his alma mater first, before becoming a head coach later at Loyola Marymount, and then bringing his whole staff here to Oklahoma. That ball too tight to the net, dealt with, and once again Oklahoma victorious on top of the cable.
And Kevin, I'm noticing we're seeing a player on the court for Ole Miss who we didn't see Friday night. That's number 8 in blue, Caroline Ellis, on the left side out there. Shayla Meyer also in the front row right now as well. Stayed at the right pin in that last series. And they have Caroline Ellis now at the left side. So a little different look for Ole Miss today.
And a big block there on the other side. Number 13, Kennedy Patterson picks up the stuff. Both these teams deploying the 6-2.
And she is certainly doing her job, because coach told us with the power they have at the pins, the number of sets to that position that Kennedy Patterson playing will be minimal. It is a defensive position for them. They want her to not only get stuffs, but quality block touches.
Again down the middle of the court, and ending a 4-0 run, Gabby Placide. See out of Centennial, Colorado. That is southern Denver.
Placide doing a nice job being available out of the back row. And again, it's forcing those middle blockers for Oklahoma to have to stay home and not be able to release and camp out on the pins.
Getting some offense out of that position as well, Missy. There you go. Kennedy Patterson with a block and a kill.
Unfortunately, her follow through, she had so much momentum. I like the explosion, but it carried her into the net. So that's going to be a net violation against Oklahoma.
So Ole Miss back on top via the net violation, but they'll give it right back. 7-7. Sooners 9-2, Rebels 8-4. Alexis Shelton back to serve. The offense last year was a lot of her and not much else on the other side, as that overpass will result in the back row attack. Point Sooners.
And that's one of the impressive things about these pins for Oklahoma. Not only are they a force to deal with at the net, but for all 4 of these pins, when they go to the service line, it's a bullet coming at you in a hurry.
Another bad pass, tight to the net, opportunity for the Sooners. They'll go outside. Big high swing, and that's a feature. That aggressiveness at the pin, encouraging confidence, is Erin Mansfield.
And that's Amani Bush, who rotates to the front row now as Alexis Shelton goes to the back row. So when we talk about power at the pins, in every rotation, you're either dealing with Amani Bush or Alexis Shelton. Those are 2 really big arms on the outside.
Yeah, Amani Bush leading Washington last year with 296 kills, appearing in almost every set and garnering second-team honors in the Big Ten.
Coach said she's such a special player, not only her offense, but we'll keep an eye on her blocking as well. And they can play her at either pin, and often do, and it might depend on who they're trying to defend.
A little left-handed push there as that ball passed her. Patterson now with her first kill.
Really nice job with her hang time, using that left hand to just quickly find the floor.
Good little run here for Oklahoma after trailing early 5-2. And jump service. They have a couple of green light servers on the Oklahoma side. They'll get after it. Good dig there. To the pin. Pushed and reset. Another opportunity to take a cut. Neeson with the dig. Rally of the match thus far. Oh, ends unfortunately with a net violation against Ole Miss. But there were some fantastic cuts there, Missy.
Yeah, really nice swings. You got to love the defense in the back court. And both of these teams impressing me early, trying to really be high efficiency, not allowing that block to take over.
Bree Henry stressing that back row attack. I see Oklahoma going to the left-hand side. The majority of attacks and warm-ups went there, as that jump serve is just long off the end line.
Camille Gibson now out, and opposite her on the court is Takoa Barnes. And they do something a little bit interesting in that the libero play is exchanging with those two outsides. The setters make their exchange in the 6-2 with the middles. And I like that approach because it allows the middle to only hit off one setter and create some consistency.
Yeah, the other thing it does is put your libero in the middle. Aaron's Mansfield said we have a lot of reception consistency via the libero passing center throughout all the rotations.
And that's Frega right there too in the dark jersey for Oklahoma. Every single rotation, she's in the middle of the court. They're trying to free her up, they said, to pass even more balls in the seams, whether it be to her left or right. They have so much confidence in her.
Pacific South Region Freshman of the Year, Fresno State transfers. That ball is blocked. Second one for Ole Miss.
Oklahoma attempting to use tempo here to their advantage, but really nice lateral movement on the part of Tessa Jones there. 12 by Ole Miss to make that close.
Yeah, Jones already with a couple of quality moves. 3-0 run the other way here for Ole Miss. Little mini runs. No one gotten away huge yet. Right side, little overload. The block is up to the task. Is that Jones once again?
Yeah, that is Jones in the front row. I mean, all over the place. You just see there is a history of such a great middle blocker play at Ole Miss over the last 4 years. And Tessa Jones, I think, is a result of having trained with those athletes in the same gym.
Yeah, fourth-year Rebel Tessa Jones. Of course, getting less and less common with quality players to be in the same place for an entire collegiate career.
And I'm pretty impressed with the early offensive punch that we're getting, not only from the middle of the court, but from Patterson, who, as we said earlier, coach said primarily we look at that as a defensive position, but obviously the more kills you can get, and this is a team who balance certainly defines their offense.
Tough serve down the line, thrown to the pin outside. Back into the middle once again. That will find the end line. Missy, to your point, both teams are just trying to go at each other. That'll be Burgess.
And here's Burgess with a slight float on one of those drift routes. She comes down the middle, but it really feels like she drifts away from the setter. And that just opens the court up for her time and time again.
They will get the ball to Burgess from quite a bunch of situations. That ball covered. Sent back to the outside once again and pushed through and down. That a new feature. But Burgess, number 9 in white, is known for her large hitting window. They can throw the ball to her from even 10 feet off the net. In the left front right now, number 9. Kelly Jo Burgess out of Utah. Another one of those fine state cultures of volleyball, producing a ton of talent. A service there.
Placide,
we're expecting a tight match.
Yeah, Placide doing it all for Ole Miss. I think what most impressed me right now is that after hitting barely above 150 on Friday night, Placide, without an error so far today, hitting 571. Talk about flipping the numbers.
And a second ace? No, just long. Well, you might think about a challenge if that was close enough. But as expected, we have tight competition here in set 1. Two teams fighting for that midfield spot in the SEC.
A conference who placed 9 teams in the tournament a season ago. It'll be quite a quest to repeat that.
Yeah, I thought we might get a challenge here, and indeed we did. That ball was so close to that back.
Ole Miss was challenging the out call.
Challenging the out call there. Brett Myers, our R2, at the request of Bree Henry from Ole Miss, will head into the replay booth. Gives Henry a chance to get a de facto timeout and talk to her squad. What do you like so far from the Rebels?
I like the efficiency on the pins right now for the Rebels. The fact that Placide is hitting at 571 is just huge for them, because honestly they had talked about the fact that their middle attack was a work in progress, but their middle attack carried them to some extent on Friday night. 21 of 34 with only 2 errors. Their middles combined, it was their outsides that hit for a really low efficiency. And while you love to have that middle blocker offense, the game is really won and lost at the pin, as we know. And so we're definitely going to need to see higher numbers from Placide, and we are getting
after
it.
Review, the ball is in. Ole Miss gets the point and retains their challenge.
Yeah, you got a chance to see the Hawkeye system at work right there. Thought it might be worth a challenge, and in fact, it was. So ace service, Ole Miss. They're going to unwind the score there. It's going to end up being 15-13 Ole Miss and a technical timeout. Promotions, giveaways, having voices from the past. Over 800 wins in the history of this franchise. 5 NCAA tournament appearances. You see that there. They got their first win last year. They defeated Florida State University 3-2 to not only make the tournament, but also win in the tournament. Missy, it's such a huge deal when programs get to that point.
It really is. And to see them really take down FSU in what I would say was an upset, and then fall to Creighton, who is the team that went on to take out Texas. So a really quality opponent, and I think Ole Miss proved themselves well in the tournament last year.
They proved themselves well early here with the lead, but that block will have Oklahoma back within 1. I think you have T. Barnes out there on the left pin after this save to just keep the free ball alive.
Well, Coach Mansfield said defense would be a point of emphasis for his team this past week, and he said it's not so much a skill for us as it is an attitude, and so he's going to be thrilled with the attitude there.
Yeah, I love that quote when he said it. It is. It's that last little bit of effort, the belief that you can do it. Pushing, looking for the corner, and no. So remaining without a kill on the outside, Shayla Meyer for Ole Miss. That's a tough start for her as well as her side. She's an important part of the Rebels' attack.
And Shayla Meyer really having to carry a heavy burden for Ole Miss on Friday night, and that they just Arkansas targeted her time and time again in serve receive. And so sometimes what she provides for this team isn't necessarily noticeable in the stat sheet, but when she's a steady serve receive presence for them, she's a very important piece.
One line ace deserves another ace there from Oklahoma, 16-15. But we will have yet another challenge here issued.
Ole Miss is challenging the end call.
So Ole Miss already victorious with one challenge here. Will challenge this one that was originally called in. Bree Henry thinks it was out. Had maybe a little better view this time.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that our in-out challenges have been on serves so far, not on attacks.
So let's take a look live with our referee. You and Brett Myers are in Hawkeye Live. It's the Hawkeye replay system. That ball clearly out. If you look in the upper right, I can see that ball is clearly long. Wait for it as they roll it through this. The referee actually making the moves. Yeah, what are we doing? Missy?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I honestly typically don't know in real time, but
After review, the ball is out. Ole Miss wins the point and retains their challenge.
So Bree Henry, you are 2 for 2 on your side.
And I like the fact that Bree Henry here understands the importance of set one for her team. Coming off of that loss on the road at Arkansas, they need to establish some dominance here on it. I think they learned on Friday night, or they were reminded. They didn't learn. They were reminded how hard it is to win in conference play on the road. And so I like her early use of the challenge, being really aggressive here. You know, they actually outscored Arkansas on Friday night when you look at total points. And so that's a head scratcher oftentimes and a heartbreaker, but I like their response so far today.
Side out there for Oklahoma. It was a crucial third set loss against Arkansas in that eventual 5-setter. They lost 26-24 after leading 24-22. The Razorbacks ran off 4-0. Now they got a good response from Ole Miss. If you're the staff, you feel good about the fourth set, but the fifth set they went down quickly with attack errors and could never recover, as there's a second error from the service line from Takoya Barnes.
Oklahoma is aggressive from the service line, but they have been pretty effective from the service line in that on Friday night when they hosted LSU, they had 6 aces to only 9 errors. Coaches are typically happy with a 1-to-2 ratio. That's even better.
Well, they already have 5 service errors here early in this one. And a couple of triple blocks, and it worked. Again, the 3-woman at the net defense is successful.
Good look here at Kelly Jo Burgess. We've talked about her offense. She's got the defense to go along with it. And then here's one of the other things that defines Oklahoma volleyball and some of that international style of plays. They are not afraid to throw up a triple block. And great movement, as you saw that time, from Camille Gibson coming all the way from left front. And then, much like Imani Bush, you see Alexis Shelton is a dynamic pin blocker.
Oh, big dynamic swing there without an approach. Oklahoma a little better chance here. Long set overhead, and that'll be a kill for Gibson.
Camille Gibson that time from the right side. And when you see players listed as pin attackers rather than left side attackers or right side attackers, it's the players like you're seeing here today. You're seeing Gibson, you're seeing Bush, you're seeing Shelton. Coach told us right now Barnes, so young in her career, still more comfortable from the left side, but beyond that, he can really move his players around and they can use it to their defensive advantage, as you see right there, able to put Alexis Shelton on the left side in that particular rotation, matched up against Shayla Meyer, and she smothers that one.
Oh, yeah, that ball, big swing from Shayla Meyer. In fact, off the block and out of bounds, although the celebration from Oklahoma.
Okay,
I would have you believe that was a point in their category. But Meyer picks up the point. And Ole Miss picks up another chance here. There's a big cut, and Placide gets it off the top of the block. 19-18.
I see Patterson shaking her head no, and I think we may get another challenge.
In this challenge-filled first set, you're exactly right, Missy Whittemore.
Oklahoma is challenging a touch on the play.
Luckily, a lot of these challenges have sped up a bit as we've worked our way into the season, and certainly through the challenge system and its development over the past few years.
And again, the fact that these coaches have not hesitated to go to the challenge here early in this first set, I think just speaks volumes. It speaks to the fact that they know how important this first set is in setting the tone here today. And as we said coming in, these are two teams who were right in the middle of the pack last year fighting for NCAA tournament spots, and this match becomes all the more important.
Missy, that ball looks like it is clearly above the block.
If there's a touch, it's obviously going to be on number one here. Camille Gibson's got our eyes on her. And as you said, I think it's above.
That would be the officials 0 for 3 here. It'd be a tough start on a Sunday morning for our officiating crew, our linesmen.
Rather, we'll just say the coaches are 3-0. How's that?
It could be if this call goes the way of Oklahoma here.
Ooh.
An excellent look at how this system is being used.
And another triple block up for Oklahoma.
Yeah, those drift routes, we'll see little pop routes as well. And now the triple block, all international staples.
After review, there was no touch on the play. Ball is out. Oklahoma wins the point and retains their challenge.
Coaches 3-0, 4 challenges still available in total.
Nice work, coaches.
All right, so Aaron Mansfield gets the call overturned. And we should be flipping the score here. There you go, 19-18 the other direction as we creep toward that red zone, as Missy Whittemore likes to call it, 20-25. Whitney Wallace checks in to add some service pressure and some defensive prowess. She'll be in the middle back. Good pass from Ole Miss and a better block. You said they want a defense. They're getting it. Patterson, another impactful move.
Patterson off to a great start so far. She's killed 2 of 4 swings, and now her 3rd block, really making her presence known in the middle.
An outstanding start for Oklahoma with their entire group. They lead by 2. Norman, Oklahoma for this SEC showdown. Kennedy Patterson, impact already made, 2 kills, 3 blocks. And this is a player who they were unsure if she was going to be able to go this weekend. Dislocated her arm against Florida State earlier in the year. Good to see her back out and being effective.
She is that transfer from Pepperdine, now in her senior season, and she is always on the court with the setter Harper Hall, also a transfer from UCSB, and those two obviously developing quite the connection.
Now the redirect didn't work, so another block will. Neeson, that beautiful read for the Rebels did not matter, as again Oklahoma with a big stuff block.
And that's Camille Gibson that time at the right pin. She was such a player last year. You saw the upside for Camille Gibson, but she was so young last year playing for Oklahoma and had a lot of balls come her way. But wow, you can see the maturity in her game and how much she's grown.
Into the block once again, but this time out of bounds. Ole Miss stays in touch. Bella Bonanno back to serve out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. She'll be in the left back on defense. Can she pick up a dig? It's coming her way. No, it's cross court and out of bounds.
And Oklahoma that time unable to convert an absolutely perfect pass from Wallace there, 22 in white, who nailed it.
So that ball hit wide left, and timeout called by Oklahoma kind of preemptively here. Do you like this from Erin Mansfield?
I think I do, actually. I think this first set is very important. I like the fact that Oklahoma is still in control right now, even though it be only 1 point. Call a timeout, settle the troops, and draw up what you want to do offensively.
The consistent lineup for Oklahoma has been a positive. For Ole Miss, on the other side, they have been through some injuries and some changes to their lineup. They're missing Malia Johnson, their freshman opposite, and they're also missing Jordan Towns, who was expected to play a huge role at middle blocker and did for one match.
You see Towns back there in the red shirt, and in her absence, what it does is add another freshman to the lineup for an already rather young Ole Miss team. Carlton in the middle today, and then as Malia Johnson is unavailable, she is a freshman, but we've seen other young players getting opportunities. Carlton, and of course today we're seeing Ellis. So Coach Bree Kelly told us, obviously, you don't necessarily want to depend on freshmen all the time, but the freshman production that they're getting is huge. And she said, you know, we're living in the now, trying to win right now, but the future is very important. And so they feel like these opportunities that the young players are having will pay off.
Yeah, both these programs on the build side of things. Certainly last year was an exciting time. Bree Henry telling us that she just couldn't believe the chaos after they picked up that victory over Florida State. They actually defeated number 9 Texas in the regular season as well, going 18-2, 7-9 in SEC play. Ended up losing to Kentucky in that Pittsburgh region. Tough assignment. And you get that assignment in conference as well. Kentucky and Texas, the powerhouses of the SEC.
That ball on the outside to Bush, who puts up a huge swing, and Ole Miss, in an effort to slow it down, is drawn into the net there.
Sydney Thompson checks in to serve. A little libero support here and favoring a float instead of a jumper in the waning moments here. That float nearly produced an ace. And instead, Ole Miss with the side out.
A really nice serve off the bench by Sydney Thompson, and maybe a more aggressive approach at the net. If they could have taken a swing at that overpass, could have been a quick point for Oklahoma.
Crowd getting into it here on a Sunday. Float down the line into traffic. Right side attack blocked by Ole Miss and cannot be handled. Point Rebels. We are tied.
And guess who's back at the net for the Ole Miss Rebels? Number 12 in blue, Tessa Jones, has just been absolutely all over the place, that time alongside Placide there to slow down Bush.
Yeah, I think we're going to give that one to Placide right in the middle of her hands.
So. I think
no
so.
half a block for the middle. Oh, and another service error. 11th tie, now at 22 in this hyper-competitive first set in the mid-pack of the SEC. Perhaps 6 teams, in addition to the top 3, Kentucky, Texas, Texas A&M, could make the tournament. You're talking about Florida, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Auburn, Arkansas. These 2 teams, it is a crowded field. A good pass. She'll get it up back row, tipped into the campfire. Someone dives into the flames. push, and this should be Oklahoma with an opportunity. Bush misses.
Really nice choice ball by Ole Miss there, because what would look like would be a free ball, they chose to send it into right back. That took the setter for Oklahoma out of the equation, and Oklahoma just doesn't do a good job of creating offense in that out-of-system look.
It's amazing to me how often that still works, all the way from the junior level to the collegiate level. Good pass, Oklahoma, right side again, Bush. Slowed. That ball overset, redirected out of bounds off a touch, and Ole Miss with an opportunity to close set one. They have a set point on the road.
Oklahoma has Bush behind, but Barnes on the outside matched up with the smaller setter, Tufono. Where will they go?
Bush a target and serve reception often. This time it's down the middle. Courageous and strong swing from Barnes.
A matchup that favors the freshman there, Takoa Barnes, and that Tufono is in the front row right now for Ole Miss. Really the only option against a smaller block in this lineup for Ole Miss, and really well executed by the youngster Barnes.
Bush back to serve. Dump, shut down. So now it's Oklahoma with the advantage, having fought off one set point of their own. It's their middle blockers to continue to play a huge role.
Tufono has been very active as an offensive setter this season, and obviously Oklahoma was prepared for it. We haven't seen it in the first set. They could have lost track of her, but credit KJ Burgess for being there.
Ole Miss still looking for their first win in conference play, but it's early, just 0-1. And Oklahoma could pick up a fourth straight win. Last year, it was a 5-set thriller where Oklahoma led 2-1. Nia Washington had 26 kills for Ole Miss. That was a fine performance, and they're still trying to replace that kind of output. As we look at our upcoming women's volleyball matchups, and the SEC Network has you covered for top shelf action. Number 13 Texas A&M, who looks like perhaps a conference champion contender, will take on South Carolina on Friday. Then it's number 3 Kentucky. They'll take on Ole Miss. Coverage of both matches begins 7 Eastern, 6 Central here on the SEC Network, and of course on that all-new ESPN app. Kevin Barnett alongside Missy Whittemore for this one. Oklahoma is going to try and close. They've had a lot of defense here in the first set.
Yeah, taking a look at the numbers here. Oklahoma with 6.5 blocks. Huge number, 10 digs. Ole Miss has matched that dig number, but only 4 blocks. And this one, quite honestly, Kevin, just as we expected. Down to the wire, extra points, and we are not a bit surprised.
Yeah, going to go a little overtime. Oklahoma trying to close it here. 9 lead changes to this point. Perhaps none more important than Oklahoma going +1 moments ago. So Bush, their primary offensive threat, back to serve. That puts her in the back row, but they do not lack pin attackers for the set. Back row. No touch called. It's well long, and Oklahoma is clear. 2 points in the first set. It wasn't easy, but it's not expected to be in the SEC on any given Sunday. 26-24, Oklahoma takes it. Will they gain some momentum, or are we in for more tough sledding for both squads? Set 2's on the way.
This week, and he said we hope to see a return on our investment. How about 6.5 blocks in one set? Is that a pretty good return? I think he's got to be feeling good about that. 4 of those, credit to Kennedy Patterson, who's just been on fire. Yeah, maybe Oklahoma and Aaron Mansfield with some crypto blocking there to the moon with the results in set number 1. A closely contested set. 6 kills from Placida on the other side. The wild thing about that is the team 8. That is not going to get it done if you're the Ole Miss Rebels. How can they diversify? Where can they go becomes the question here. I think they've got to get their middles going. I mean, you look at their numbers from Friday night, their middles were extremely effective. And I know that they felt like they had to have outside production, but boy, they've gone to their middles, or excuse me, they've gone to their outsides in the front row, and then they're using them a ton down the middle of the court with the BIC. I think they can have some success setting their middles out of the front court.
Ole Miss hits negative 036 in the first set. That's the bad news. The good news is you only lost by 2. You actually limited Oklahoma to 125.
Yeah, to look at those numbers and to be in the negatives, to have more errors than kills, and to have had opportunities to win that first set, I think that's the positive takeaway there for Ole Miss. You know, to have put up those numbers and still been in that set, we're just fine.
Cameron Bradley with the first serve. She's been an effective addition as a freshman to this squad. But the team cannot come up with the victory. Eventually, Bush on the right side off that long set gets the first point of our first set.
And Kevin, I mentioned the BIC moments ago. Again, Ole Miss going to that back row quick. This time it's Shayla Meyer coming out of the back court, and Ole Miss, or excuse me, Oklahoma right now defending that quite well.
Bush going down the line. And an absolute crush inside the block finishes it for Ole Miss's first score.
One of the best looks so far today from Placide. Getting a swing from her out of the front court at the left pin. She has a full approach. They're in the system. I think you have to give people good looks in order to create offense. Get them going. You can't continue to hit out of system.
Placide already over 20 kills 4 times this year. So far here looking like that'll happen again as that ball is misconnected. Where do you go? Placide back row. Got it. One-on-one, the winner.
She takes that offense with her from the front row to the back row, and I feel like this had a lot better tempo as a BIC coming out of the back row. This ball doesn't hang long enough for the blockers to get well set up. This is a much quicker back row attack.
Placide down the line. That ball stabbed over but covered well. Chip shot. Both teams playing those small plays and taking big cuts on the outside. Shelton that time victorious.
And the triple block was up on the Myers swing, which forced her to just easy roll shot it in deep into the court. And that's great transition volleyball. The block forces the easy shot. They transition that into offense.
Yeah, working over Mokiana Tofono. Tofono at just 5'10". This game has certainly progressed. Taller athletes doing more and more of the skilled position attacking. And witness that out of the back row, Placide.
Placide right now for Ole Miss, 17 swings. Shayla Meyer, 11, and very minimal work out of the middle.
That one hit well long, but a net violation will give it over to Oklahoma.
Here's a great look at Alexis Shelton there. We talked about the fact that she was a National Player of the Year candidate on the watch list coming into the season. She's already in top 10 in career kills at Oklahoma, and she'll be adding quite a few to that number over the course of this year as well.
Oh, and she's adding to her totals now on the block. Big left hand as the defense of the net continues.
And she's one of those players, as we've mentioned, a true pin player. She can travel across the net, play left or right, depending on who they want to defend. And with Placide on the right side of the court, coming out of right back, works out perfectly to have her lined up across.
Alexis Shelton, raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, daughter of a couple of track athletes, choosing her own path as that ball is blasted down the line. Dione Frega, hang on.
And Placide certainly making it work, but Tessa Jones, who's coming off of a great match on Friday night, has only had one look so far today. She was 11 of 17 on Friday night, hitting for 529.
Alexis Shelton looking at 21 kills versus Ole Miss last year. It was a lot of Shelton last year, pretty much all by herself. A ton of help this year as that ball again is blasted off of Frega.
And that time we're getting a middle blocker look there. That's Carlton coming down the middle, wearing 9 in blue, one of those freshmen who's getting thrown into the fire in the absence of Jordan Towns. And much like her counterpart Tessa Jones, coming off of a really nice match, a career high actually. 10 kills for her on Friday night of her 17 swings without an error Friday night.
Yeah, maybe Tafano already getting the call from you, Missy, feeling it in the universe, go down the middle of the court.
There was setter vibes there, setter vibes.
That's right. I didn't know there was some sort of connectivity between all of you. Makes perfect sense.
It happens.
Jump serve coming. Not too many jump serves in the first set. Couple of green lights on that side. When you say green light, what does that mean from a serving perspective, and how does that relate to the rest of the team?
Well, there's a couple players on this team, in particular, Camille Gibson, Takoa Barnes. They've got the green light. Go for it. Rip it. You know, we're willing to take the errors. They're going to come with that high reward serve. And what you noticed is that late in the set, when Mansfield wasn't willing to take the errors, he made some subs. And that's coach's choice. But when he puts those players at the service line, it is green light.
Yeah, you saw Sydney Thompson come in late for that jump float serve, as well as some defensive support. And aggression at the net also is a positive for Erin Mansfield, as Barnes takes another big cut.
What a luxury she has to learn in the gym with 3 incredible pin players that she goes against day in and day out. Another big block for Oklahoma. This time it is KJ Burgess, so it doesn't matter the rotation. The block is present for the Sooners. KJ Burgess, that move to her left. And again, taking the pins out of it right now for Ole Miss. Really nice serve by Avea Mega in the back row right now, a freshman on this team who has come in and really had an immediate impact. With that, Oklahoma on a nice little run, leading by 3, already up 1 set.
Kevin Barnett back alongside Missy Whittemore. I'm not sure what sandwich culture is, Missy, but I'm intrigued. I'll be tuning in.
Sounds tasty.
It does indeed. As we're back here, Oklahoma with the advantage, 9-6 in set 2. Another nice dig. Will they take a cut? Pretty aggressive, and that one too aggressive.
That nice high ball that they hang inside on those out-of-system swings. Something you'll see from Oklahoma pretty consistently, and as you said, they're also pretty aggressive.
Yeah, Barnes, a freshman, is a standout right now. 3 kills, 4 errors on 13. Be interesting to see how Mansfield handles her as she goes through the rest of this match in terms of attacking red or green light situations. Block once again there for Oklahoma. Little reset. Touch and a pancake behind. Ole Miss having to take multiple swings to try and put the ball away. Another block. And now confusion on the Oklahoma side. Oh, break for Ole Miss. What a bunch of good moves by Oklahoma.
Yeah, that Oklahoma defense at the net is stout, and as you saw for Ole Miss, they continue to just go from one pin to the next, to the outside, to Placide, back row to Meyer, back and forth we go. And when it looked like Oklahoma finally had an opportunity to take a swing of their own, just some miscommunication.
No miscommunication there. Burgess with the attack. Ole Miss saves it. Do you go right back to the middle? Yes. Got it.
And you can see on that Burgess attack, they are leaving the crossbody swing into right back for the defense to take care of, which it does. And the block is taking away that angle shot. And that time, KJ Burgess is just able to battle and beat it off of the block into the stands. So good ball movement there by Burgess.
A little 10-8 lead here for Oklahoma. Boy, a lot of service errors by both teams. That's now Oklahoma with 7 and Ole Miss with 5.
And not a lot of aces to show for it, as Oklahoma just 1, Ole Miss 2.
Yeah, 12 errors combined, 3 aces. That is not the return anyone's looking for.
No.
As Barnes stays aggressive and again hits that ball a little bit long.
Yeah, for Tacoa Barnes, 3 kills. She's now going to have 5 errors in the negative. And for a team that I know loves to be balanced and diverse, has some experience at the pins, maybe setting decisions to go give the youngster a little breather might be nice.
Well, that pass will not allow the ball to get anywhere. Ole Miss with some decisions to make. Back slide. They go to the middle. Tessa Jones with a kill.
There she is, a little middle blocker production here in this second set. And when the setter's in the front row, this is something that Tessa Jones does quite well. And because they have not used it, did you see how far into the court Alexis Shelton was? So lots of room down that line.
Timeout called by OU. Ole Miss leads by 1. Yeah, you were wanting more Jones attack. She still just has 2 attempts on the match.
Yeah,
5-1 run by Ole Miss here.
You talk about the fact that not many attempts for the middle blockers, but that is not the case for Gabby Placide. She has 10 kills on the day, but it's taken 23 swings to get there. Still hitting 261, really good numbers for Placide, but very different look from what we're seeing from Oklahoma. This is balance versus really one-dimensional offense right now from Ole Miss.
Yeah, Shayla Meyer, who's normally the balance there for Placide. 13 attempts, just 1 kill, 2 errors. I felt like coming in, if we had Gabby and Shayla, we were going to be talking about Brazil. Brazilian legends there. One of the past in Shayla Castro and one currently in Gabby.
We talked about Ole Miss hitting for negative numbers in that first set, and to their credit, they're now at 235 here in the second set and holding Oklahoma to 214.
And consequently, a lead of 1 for the Rebels. That ball is attacked out of bounds.
And you see it again, out of system. They love to hang a high ball inside the court, and then they ask those pin attackers on the left side to come in and high point that, chase it, hoping to create some havoc off blockers' hands. But they've missed a few of those today.
Out to the pin, and that ball is going to be point Oklahoma. Touch there.
And what a difference a pass makes, as you see just how different that tempo is for that really high inside set on an out-of-system ball versus the fast set to the outside that time Alexis Shelton is able to convert.
Oklahoma scoring a lot of the points here on either errors or kills on their own side as Barnes just misses the back line. So Barnes yet to get the offense dialed in. That's been a regular feature this year for that side. Season high 15+ points against St. Mary's earlier this month.
And Mansfield there still willing to go with that high-risk serve. We'll see next time around if that's the case.
Good tempo to the outside with the Ole Miss block all over it. Ole Miss stretching it out, +3 now.
Interchangeable pins. This time it's Camille Gibson. And look at Tafono. We call her the smaller setter, but she's worked a lot on not being such a liability up there. Nice strong hands at the net.
Into the middle, into the strength, into Burgess. And you saw a delivery from off the net, able to push it into number 9 with that big window.
Yeah, they said they feel comfortable setting her even 10 feet off the net. That they have great connection, that she does such a good job of making herself available. We mentioned earlier in the pre-conference portion of their schedule, she hit for 467. So some of the things they're doing to create looks for her with the drift route, setting her from well off the net, are certainly paying off.
That ball sliced inside. There's a good sign for Ole Miss. Shayla Meyer getting going, the Nebraska native. Superior Nebraska. Of course, everyone knows about the volleyball culture in that state.
And that had to feel good for Shayla Meyer, who's taken a whole lot of swings, had to handle a whole lot in serve receive, and finally just her second kill.
Sister Kaylin, a collegiate player as well, one of those many sisters playing the game, as that ace is served up.
Tufono right down the line, challenging Bush here, who they will at times try to remove from the serve receive. They say she's pretty comfortable passing on the left side of the court, though. That time, nice job by the Libero diving in there and taking that.
Yeah, they were squeezing her pretty good in reception.
Yeah.
Bush sees a lot of opportunities as that ball is headhunting down the line and got it. Touch called.
And you'll see some acrobatics here as Frege diving out of the way.
Yeah, Frege like a carnival duck just taken out there. 17-13 now off that miss. Deani Frege out of California, transfer from Fresno State. Really funny comment from Lane Kiffin yesterday after his win. Of course, coach there at Ole Miss about one of his wide receivers, and he said how talented the young player was, only to then recant and say, actually, I can't say that because then somebody will steal it as the free ball is mixed up on Oklahoma's side. He said, actually, the guy can't learn his routes. He has no idea what he's doing out there. So don't come in and take him away.
Well, it's pretty funny, but it's so true, isn't it? Because even as we talked to Bree Henry from Ole Miss, she brought Placida in from Northern Colorado after Northern Colorado knocked off Ole Miss last year. So this is a player she played against. She also played against Jordan Towns at Alabama, and they were players who, when she left those matches, she thought, wow, if they go in the portal, I'd like to have them on my side of the net. Yeah,
specifically telling her assistant coach Taylor, if Towns goes in the portal, we need her. And Taylor followed up the moment it happened. That ball's down the middle. Ole Miss with a kill. They are taking control of the second set.
And slowly but surely getting some middle blocker offense. Again, that's Carlton, the freshman out of Stephenville, Texas. Another high-quality swing for her. 3 kills now.
Outside, pushed over. Ole Miss there again. And the redirect is going to result in a net and another point for the Rebels. A lot of Oklahoma mistakes here in set number 2, and taking advantage is Ole Miss. We love the way that Ole Miss responds after some tough set losses. And how will you respond after watching this on a Sunday? You should do it by watching more volleyball on the SEC Network. Wednesday, number 13, A&M, Texas A&M taking on South Carolina. Friday, number 3, Kentucky takes on Ole Miss. Both matches starting 7 p.m. Eastern here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app. Ranked opponents is what it's all about in the pre-conference for a lot of teams. Well, if you're in conference here, you're going to get a bunch of ranked opponents as well. The Ole Miss Rebels home schedule looks pretty good, Missy.
Absolutely. Getting to host all 5 of these top teams in the conference. They do have to go to Missouri, but these 5, they'll have an opportunity at home. They haven't been home a lot in the pre-conference, so they are looking forward to these big opportunities. Had to start conference on the road, but these opportunities at home will be huge for Ole Miss. On the flip side of that, poor Oklahoma will actually have to travel to all of those opponents and to Mizzou as well. So this is a really important opening weekend for Oklahoma because they're going to have a lot of work to do on the road.
Yeah, Oklahoma's actually 5-0 at home, and as you mentioned, Ole Miss has played only 2 matches at home this entire season. All right, a little 12-3 run here for Ole Miss. Bree Henry has to be happy with the way that her squad has responded and taken advantage here in set 2. Coming back from hitting .036 offensively in the first. They're hitting .348 right now. Pass too tight, poked over, but then misplayed. Teams trading errors. Neither side able to get a clean opportunity. Beautiful dig down the line. Pushed in, second dig. A test of cardiovascular fitness. Clean opportunity for the Rebels. Got it. Redirect is finally good. Paul with it.
The defense for Ole Miss creating opportunities over the course of a really long rally. There she is, the libero Neeson, who we just haven't mentioned enough, all over the court. And Shayla Meyer, after the work of her counterpart, can't let that one fall. Chases it to the corner. And boy, Bree Henry happy to see that hard work pay off.
Another difficult situation for the Sooners. And Neeson can't handle that one. 21-14, solid control for the Rebels.
Amani Bush now in the front row. That's her 5th kill. Alexis Shelton with 6. KJ Burgess with 4. Tagoa Barnes with 3. And that's what you kind of see from Oklahoma on any given night.
Yeah, Ole Miss Placide with 11. No one with more than 2 behind her.
Exactly.
And that ball will be missed. One timeout remaining for the Rebels, but plenty of space still here, +6. As Thompson remains at the line, the Tulsa, Oklahoma native. Perfect pass, right side attack, dug up. Neeson free ball play. And a net violation gives the kill to Ole Miss.
And that's Paw now on the right side for Ole Miss. She's listed as a middle blocker. Early in the match, we saw Ellis. As we said, they're dealing with some injuries this year, so we've seen some change in personnel. But Paw with a very aggressive swing there in that rally.
Yeah, in an earlier match, Paul came up with 5 blocks in a match, and that was a freshman record. No surprise being a middle blocker. So much less going on when you go from playing in the middle to playing at a pin from a blocking perspective.
I like the choice here. They found Amani Bush on the left side, and now they go to Amani Bush on the right side. These are must-have points right now for Oklahoma, and so you've got to find those go-to players. I love the fact that Oklahoma is balanced, but at times is their balance to a detriment, because I do think that they've got to find the hot hands. Who's hot over the course of a match? It's going to be different people, different night.
Well, the hot hand right now, and when you're looking for some balance, is Paul. That'll be her 3rd kill. It's going to be 3 for 6 with 1 error and some pop on the right side.
Not only now finding some offense down the middle front of the court, but now on the right side, and that is going to really spread the net and make things a lot harder for that Oklahoma block.
So Paul to the bench. She has the last 3 kills for Ole Miss. They'll look to close without her, and that serve is going to come up short.
Bradley, another one of the freshmen who is getting opportunities this season in again in the back row. She's been a normal sub for them, and you see what she was doing there. She was going for that drop serve right over the net, trying to jam up that Oklahoma offense. Yeah,
back-to-back double-figure dig efforts for Bradley, who's in that right back, as that ball is blasted into the block and down. So Ole Miss, who stretched it out mid-set, is now looking at far better of an opportunity to close than they had in the first set point. Pretty good environment this afternoon for Oklahoma. That ball pushed. There's Bradley on the spot, and it pays off. A play by the freshman is finished by the junior Meyer on the outside. 25-17. Ole Miss takes the 2nd set.
Credit Meyer, who really just continued to chip away. Lots on her plate in the first set in terms of number of out-of-system looks and serve receive. A shot she was looking for earlier and missed. She's able to cash in on set point.
So we're going to head into set 3, tied at 1 set apiece, with Ole Miss struggling offensively early on in this match, but then coming back in the second with a dominant 25-17 victory. Bree Henry joins us now. Bree, your team time and again is responding to tough sets. They've done it again here. How are they able to change the flow of a match in that way?
Well, we definitely talked about a lot about being able to adjust mid-match, and we needed to start picking up the junk, and we started doing that. We started keeping our hands over the tape and being able to do those things like we know we can do, and then it just slows a team like that down. They're very aggressive, and they jump really well, but there's a lot of things that we can be better at, and we're starting to pick those things up.
Thanks, Bree. All right, Bree taking her team into the third set after a dominant 25-17 performance. They'll be back for that critical third set showdown. Welcome back to SEC Volleyball, powered by Sprouts Farmers Market. Oklahoma and Ole Miss tied, and we knew coming in, Ole Miss, Missy Whittemore, it would be a lot of a senior setter to a transfer outside hitter.
This is a connection that they have relied on early and often. And Coach told us when we asked her about the strengths of this team coming out of pre-conference is that they knew they can rely on their pins. Well, that has specifically been the case tonight with Gabby Placide, who has 11 kills already after just those 2 sets. Not only does she have the big kill numbers, but she's got the efficiency to go along with it tonight, hitting 259 after hitting at 150 on Friday night against Arkansas. That is a huge improvement.
Yeah, I love the work our stat guy Dan is doing. He said, look, 10 of the first 13 kills for this side were taken by Gabby Placide, but since then 9 of 10 have been the rest of the team. How big a part of that second set is that particular dynamic?
I think that tells the story right there. I love the fact that Tufono all of a sudden started to, it doesn't have to be extreme amounts, but she sprinkled in some middle blocker attack out of the middle. We saw Paul back in the match on the right side, who was really able to get some things going. She had 3 kills on just 6 attempts, 333 from the right side. So they were bound and determined to establish the middle early. They were doing it with a lot of back row attack, and that was some of those large attack numbers that we saw from Placide, but now a little bit more spreading it around for Ole Miss.
I forgot, too, how much credit we're giving you for getting out there on the Sitter National Communication Network.
Absolutely.
And just back channeling,
little
letting
conference.
her know, set that middle.
And Placide another kill here to start this one.
All right, so Ole Miss on the right, Oklahoma on the left in their home whites, trying to respond as Ole Miss did in set number 2. It was 26-24. Oklahoma hit 125 in that first set. That was bad news, and it kind of continued into the second. They hit just 138, while Ole Miss hit 364 in that second set.
By the way, Burgess there, another kill for Oklahoma, and she's errorless on the day. So Oklahoma can think about setting the middles a little more as well.
Yeah, middle attacks here going back and forth as Tessa Jones picks up that kill out of Cleves, Ohio. She's had herself a nice start to this match as well, number 12 in blue.
And Jones in the front row, a couple of rotations with Tufono, and that works well for Ole Miss because she is so good behind off 1 foot.
Nice little layoff that time. Ole Miss with a play and a cover here. That ball over the scorer's table. Look out. Going for it. Cameron Bradley. Everything she had.
Nothing down easily against this Ole Miss team. And that's something Bree Henry said. She said she really likes this group. So many youngsters. She said sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, which can work to your advantage. And then she said also this is a team who it's never over for them. You know, they're never throwing in the towel.
It was a pretty looking attempt at a set, but it didn't find anyone to connect to. Oklahoma 3-2.
Carleton going behind because the pass was so tight. Tufono could only just take a jab at it, and that created a timing issue.
So that'll send Gibson to the line. Remember that jumper here. They have yet to get that aspect going. Green light still shining. And that's a tough one. That'll keep Ole Miss off balance. And indeed, the hitting error result.
And for Ole Miss, unfortunately, several of their errors have been on the non-hard hit ball. So going for corners, those are great spots to hit with the off speed, but that's also a time where you really would hope not to err.
Another tough service, this one cross court. And the block is there. So that service is working, keeping the Ole Miss offense at about 12 feet.
Kelly Jo Burgess up at the net, but look at Alexis Shelton. That's your left front blocker all the way over into right front. No surprise, because of course we know she triple blocks as well there on the far side. She does a great job shadowing the attack.
A little better pass this time, and a better result. That one fed into the middle to Carlton.
What a
You're
nice
loving the way
set.
Carlton's playing tonight.
I am. I mean, what a freshman getting just such key experience, and Tafono as an experienced setter working with her and teaching her the game. And you saw Tafono well off the net there, was able to create a nice look for her.
Tip into the middle, colliding a couple of Ole Miss defenders. Everyone okay. Ball falls 6-3.
And for Burgess, make it 6 kills now on 9 attempts. Still without an error. She's hitting .667.
Yeah, that'll do, along with 5 blocks for number 9 as she checks out. One day when there aren't rotations and you can just stay, she'll be very effective the entire time. Ball tipped over, covered, and hit on 2. A lot of misconnections here for both sides. Nothing missed about that one. Paw.
And that is Paul again, who, as we mentioned, wasn't in at the beginning of this match. A player listed as a middle blocker who's been thrown into pin play due to some injuries. We saw her get it going on the right side, and now she gets stuck out there at the left side in serve receive and comes up with another kill.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carly Paw might end up like her coach, Bree Henry, who wasn't supposed to play opposite. There was an injury at the beginning of her career at Long Beach State, and she ended up thrown into the fire after supposedly going to redshirt. Ends up starting at opposite for the next 3 years.
Yeah, funny how that happens, isn't it?
Never know where your path is going to lead. Again off the net, Ole Miss. Coverage from both sides, but that's not enough for Oklahoma this time.
And Barnes, a little different attacker perhaps than the other pins, could be considered a little bit more undersized than the other pins, and that high ball inside doesn't tend to work to her advantage.
Yeah, Barnes in negative territory still hitting wise. See if they go to her, give her another chance here. No, it's into the middle and picked up by the Rebels. The triple block is there once again, however. 8-5.
This time it's Bush in the front row out there on the left side. They've got Barnes on the right side, Patterson in the match, and it is that left side block of Bush coming all the way across that slows that one down.
Yeah, what would otherwise have been a hard-driven ball into that angle.
That's exactly right.
See if Barnes can get it going here. Find the mojo from the line. Throws herself kind of straight up and puts it in the net. So what do you do here, Missy? Put yourself in Erin Mansfield's shoes. You have number 3, off to a terrific start as a freshman, but struggling in this match. How do you fill her with confidence?
Yeah, I think the serving right now is not it's not on point. I'm thinking maybe I go with the sub back there, take that off her plate. And I think they've got to maybe decrease her looks across the front row. Talking to the setters about the fact that, yes, we want to be balanced, but who has the hot hand? Let's only use Barnes in good look situations and certainly not be setting her in out of system situations.
Okay, we'll see how they handle her when she gets back in this rotation. The 6-2 offense deployed by both sides. 8-7 now. Oklahoma clinging to that 1-point lead. We've had closely contested first set and then got away, did Ole Miss in the second, but that service drops right over the net. Bradley picking up another ace. She's in double figures on the season.
And that's the serve Bradley was going for there at the conclusion of set 2 that just hit the top of the net. She finds at that time that's the result they were wanting.
And a little wry smile from her head coach. Same spot this time. Passed perfectly and blocked straight back down onto the hitter. Another point for Ole Miss.
And a big pump of the fist from Tafono, because players are trying to go for her when she's in the front row, and she's making it difficult.
Ole Miss was the aggressor mid-set in set number 2. They are the aggressor once again. Oklahoma calls a timeout.
So far, they're liking the results of what they're seeing here in set 3 from the Rebels, as that is Bradley again from the line, putting together a nice little run for Ole Miss. That one sails just long, but they lead by 1 here. First to 10 in this third set, as we're already split 1 apiece, and a huge turnaround from set 1 to set 2 in negative numbers in the first set for Ole Miss. In the second set, hit 364. So talk about flipping the script, as we see Oklahoma here continues to go after Shayla Meyer, who has passed a whole lot of balls today for the Rebels. And because that ball sailed over the net on that contact, remember, if you have a double on second contact and then there's a third contact on your side of the net, that won't be called, but you can't send it over the net on a double contact, and that's the case there. Another set behind there for Ole Miss. We've talked a lot about getting Tessa Jones involved in the offense, something they've done as of set 2, set 3. That one sails just long. And so that is another point for Oklahoma, as Avea Mega back in the match, part of the 6-2 system for the Sooners. And when she's on the floor, always it will be with Kelly Jo Burgess. And so that is a very good thing for Oklahoma. Kelly Jo Burgess perfect on the day right now for Oklahoma. Back into the match, she has 6 kills on 9 attempts, still without an error. So these are 3 rotations where they can really look to get the middle going as Avea Mega continues to serve here. Nice pickup there by Camille Gibson. And they are able to convert. Camille Gibson, you'll often see a triple block up in the front for Oklahoma. That time, Camille Gibson not up on the block. And so if you're not blocking, what is your job there? Well, your job is to slide behind the block and pick up all the junk. So perfectly executed there. Hustle play by Camille Gibson. And all of a sudden, Oklahoma up by 3.
All right, I'm back, Missy. Great to join you once again here. 13-10, Oklahoma. Over the top, dug up nicely. Nice clean opportunity here, Oklahoma. Left side. Reset, joust one, Tofono.
Don't underestimate a setter on a joust. Tofono, victorious.
Never underestimate a setter ever, is what you told me, Missy.
Well, that too. That too. I know Bree Henry just couldn't say enough good things about Tofono. We talked to her about the fact that last year she returned nearly all of her offense but had a new setter. This year they returned so little of their offense and yet have an established setter. I said, you know, which do you prefer if we had to have one over the other? And she said, boy, do I like having an established setter. And not just a good setter, but Tofono is such a great person, she said.
And why is that? What's great about having an experienced setter with inexperienced hitters versus the other way around?
Well, with the experience of a setter in order to make really good decisions. And I think it's something even right now with Oklahoma. We've talked about the fact that, you know, what do they do in terms of their set distribution? They have so many good pins. It's learning who to set when. And for Tofono, those decisions are being made at a really high level. And she's able to make those decisions quickly on the fly because of her experience.
All right, well, they're going to have to make some better decisions here in set number 3 as Oklahoma is starting to stretch out their lead. 15-11 now, looking very similar to what Ole Miss did in the second. 7-1 run for Oklahoma there, finished by Bush putting it in the net. But a lot of damage done. One of 4 Canadians on this roster. And there are pipelines that develop over time from places to certain schools. Pretty interesting story, Missy, being told to us by Aaron Mansfield about the recruiting of Canadian athletes as that ball is jousted at the net.
Yeah, Coach Mansfield told us, you see Mega there take a set at that ball, and she is a Canadian. Triple block up again.
Yeah, triple block hanging right there, staying quite pulled over to the right side, making transition a little tough. Tofono lays it into the middle, point Ole Miss.
And Coach told us that he felt like the grassroots volleyball in Canada had improved as of recent, and so he felt like there was some talent there that was not tapped into from some other schools in the U.S. And he said obviously that decreases our competition when we're going for some players who are not as highly recruited, and so they feel like they've kind of got a nice little pipeline going there.
A nice little run going until the last couple points here. As that ball fed into Burgess. First error for her. 7 kills, 1 error on 11. Still hitting .545. Do you go right back to her? No, you go over the top. Shayla cuts the ball inside. Meyer successful.
And what a good mental performance so far today by Shayla Meyer, who just started off really slow offensively. Has taken her a while to get going, and yet she's had a lot to deal with in terms of serve, receive, and defense. And I like the way she's just been so tough mentally and stayed with it.
Right side. There's a lightning bolt from Gibson.
And again,
transfer from Tennessee with that victorious swing.
We're seeing pretty good tempo to the pins, whether it be to the left side or the right side. I like to go fast, but I also like how high you have Alexis Shelton and Amani Bush at times. I think could go high as well for some success. So the tempo thing, I think can work against you at times and for you at times. So managing that, and as we've mentioned, doing it off of 2 different setters for Oklahoma, who's in that 6-2. And so these attackers are receiving balls from 2 different looks.
Yeah, and the way they run that 6-2, also you're going to get sets from both, no matter who you are. Sometimes those opposites are paired alone.
Yeah, and that's not the case, because as you're seeing right here, the setters make the switch with the middles. And so it does help for KJ Burgess, who's always on the floor with Avea Mega, and it helps here for Patterson, who's always on the floor with Hall. So that connection a little easier, but at the pin, all 4 of those pins are going to receive the ball from 2 different setters.
Ole Miss trying to stay tight here after coming back mid-set. Misses that one. Oklahoma back up 2 in our critical 3rd set matchup of what could prove to be a hugely important match for the victor come tournament selection time. 9 teams to the tournament last year from the SEC. Really turned into a power conference in the game, and why not, with the athletic departments and the incredible athletes and volleyball culture down the center of the country. They should be.
And look at Shayla Meyer catch fire here in set 3. Her last 2 swings have just been money. She buries that one cross court.
Let's see if they can access her out of the back row as she goes back to serve. They're not afraid to use that big attack. Redirect is good off of her service. And we're tied up, largely due to the work of number 14 in blue.
And funny how that is. After a really nice rip at her right front, she takes that confidence, that momentum back to the service line, and able to create a point from there as well.
Hey, you don't get an ace for that, but it's just about as good.
Yes.
Again down the line, you do get an ace for that.
You called it. You do get an ace for that one. And I tell you what, after being picked on in serve receive, and not necessarily picked on, she's handled it quite well, but being targeted, I should say, in serve receive all night long, it does feel that it feels good to go back there and unload on someone else.
Yeah, and look how much Gibson is pulled over. Oh, trying to target Bush there. Sorry, Frega is pulled over trying to cover Bush. She has been the target time and again for teams attempting to keep Oklahoma off balance.
Yeah, for Oklahoma at times, the goal is really to pretty much be passing with 2. And they may put a body back there to take up some space, but they're asking Frege to cover a lot of ground.
She does cover some ground there, had the ball up, but it doesn't matter. Point her side.
I think that pass is a little tight from Ole Miss, and it pulls Tofono into the net there as she tries to one-hand that ball.
Yeah, Frege now a junior and has professional volleyball dreams. That, of course, becoming much more of a reality in the United States nowadays with the MLV and League One volleyball. That ball is hit off the block and out of bounds. Another point for Placide. Placide's 13th kill, but not hitting for a very high percentage here. Oklahoma's done a good job limiting her.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that she just takes so many swings for Ole Miss. For her to have a high efficiency, it's going to be difficult. 38 swings now.
Yeah, she's a sanitation engineer.
Yes.
Having to take the trash out a whole bunch as that ball is off the top of the block and killed. So as we arrive into the red zone, it is a race to 5. A lot of timeouts on the table for both teams, but nobody's getting away.
And I like that swing from Bush there out of system, because she's able, as you said, to go high and snap over the top. Oftentimes when they use their tempo and they go quick to the pins, I think that shot isn't available.
3 players with 7 kills on the Oklahoma side.
Perfect pass.
Indeed, but a better block. Bush once again making a play. And there's one of those timeouts as Oklahoma opens up a 2-point advantage. So, timeout called here in this pivotal 3rd set. Oftentimes, whoever wins this set goes all the way to the victory. Let's plan your week, huh? Shall we? All new SEC Network fall football weekday lineup. From Monday reactions to Friday previews, we've got you covered. We'll let you know all the shows that are available this week on the SEC Network. There they are, 5 of them in various formats throughout the week. Every show is available streaming on the all-new ESPN app. And you will get your fill of football in what is absolutely a consequential conference in this sport and the beloved college football world. What a day it was yesterday. Exciting football all the way to the end for me, watching that double overtime Ducks and Nittany Lions matchup from Penn State during the whiteout.
Yeah, the optics of the whiteout, one of my favorite things.
So here, Ole Miss has been playing tight and tough, but they're trailing by 2 against Oklahoma. What do you go for right away trying to get out of this rotation? What are you talking to your team about if you're Bree Henry?
Well, you know, I think if you're Oklahoma, I would say the safe bet is Placide. Let's know exactly where she is on the court.
Okay.
Let's have our block ready to go there and maybe chase away from that, because that has really been the story for Ole Miss, and no surprise. But the 38 attempts for her with 13 kills right now, and the fact that she's in the front row makes you think that she's going to be the go-to.
All right, they've been serving Meyer, and they continue that here. No attack out of the back row for her. Placide is in, and that's an error. Oklahoma with a run at the right moment, 5-1.
An error there for Placide, and something that I think, you know, that triple block for Oklahoma, it might not be the fact that they actually block the ball, but boy, do they put some thoughts in an attacker's mind, thinking that you may have to contend with that. They can create errors. Not that time.
Tofono to Placide, put that one on the highlight tape, bringing that back with one hand.
A really nice pass there again out of the back court for Ole Miss, allows them to go much faster that time to Placide.
Rebels in need of a few here. Good server at the line, Bradley. Already with an ace in this match. And it was with a short. All over it is Oklahoma. Placide, left side. No. Another opportunity here. Back row. Both liberos doing work. Frega this time. And a net violation will go against Gibson on Oklahoma as she followed through into the net. Ole Miss earns one.
Yes, they do. And you saw Neeson there in the libero jersey, the red jersey for Ole Miss, a couple times in that long rally with an opportunity to step in and take control of first contact. What Oklahoma has done really well from the service line is take her out of the game. She has not been able to impact the serve-receive portion of the game much.
Oklahoma's going to call a timeout off of that extended rally, even just maybe to get a break. A little bit of rest here, and Aaron Mansfield and his crew will chat it up. Brian Thornton right there on the right-hand side of your screen. He's the architect of the middle attack we talked about coming in, the float and the pop, an opportunity to move those attackers around. That's something that he brought back from his time with the USA national team, a 2012 Olympian and then assistant coach in his volleyball journey. And this was a staff that came entirely from LMU. Aaron Mansfield keeping the band together. You know, we started at the bottom, now the whole team's here.
Yeah, and Thornton and Mansfield both having coached in the men's game, talked about the athleticism in the women's game now, and how, you know, they have full confidence in you know, these collegiate players being able to execute some things that maybe had not been incorporated in the past, but they felt they could bring to the landscape. And as you mentioned, those drift routes, a lot of that triple blocking that we're seeing, some of the big serving we're seeing from the service line, those players that kind of have that green light from the service line, some things that they've implemented.
Yeah, Brian Thornton was a worker, played at UC Irvine, national championships there under John Spera, a guy who made the most of what he had to get to an extremely high level and make an Olympic team. Incredible accomplishment and career for Thornton, now giving to the next generation of players in the women's game. And maybe knowing where our cameras are. We couldn't do any lip reading there, Missy.
That's right. That's right. But obviously, you see his impact on the offensive side of the ball as he has a little one-on-one there with Harper Hall, the setter on the court right now for Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's next level, knowing where the cameras are, not letting anybody see you. All right, Ole Miss is going to have to find a new level here in set 3. Bradley again, short service, got it! Excellent out of a timeout. We're tied.
A couple aces now on that short serve for Bradley, and you see that's where they have their offense stacked in that right corner, so you hope to create a little of a traffic jam. Even better if no one goes for it.
6 aces for Ole Miss, looking for 7. No, stepping in is Bush. Over the top and down, deep corner swing.
What a nice snap there by Gibson.
Camille Gibson has Oklahoma at a set point. We've only had a single set point in each of our previous 2 sets for the team that closed it. Ole Miss had a chance to win it in the first, did not. Oklahoma took just 1 to win it. Ole Miss took 1 to win it in the second. And now here in the third, we again have had incredibly close action.
Wow, look at that. 13 ties, 7 ties, 10 ties. Did we mention the fact that we thought this would be a close one coming in? This is an Oklahoma team who was picked to finish 7th in the league. Ole Miss picked to finish 10th. We saw on Friday night that Oklahoma was able to take down LSU, picked to finish 8th. And then that Ole Miss unfortunately fell to Arkansas, picked to finish 11th. So if you get the idea, they're from about 7 to 11. These are going to be mega important matches come December when the selection committee is choosing teams for the tournament. Significant wins obviously carry a lot of weight, but how much weight do these matches right here in the heart of conference play, if these teams are able to take care of their business and beat the teams they're supposed to beat?
Yeah, we were talking about the action on Friday night. Mississippi State defeated number 19 Florida, who might not be number 19 after that one. That was 3-2. Auburn defeated Alabama. Texas remains unbeaten, and Mizzou off to a tough start, being 0-2, but they got the top shelf action there, getting Texas A&M and Texas both away. They were a tournament team and a Sweet 16 team last year. But who knows what the future holds other than a whole bunch of competitive volleyball in the SEC.
Yeah, and that stat sheet for the Mizzou match at Texas looks like, you know, you see the 3-0 win for Texas, but Mizzou pushing one of those sets to extra points, keeping it really close, is a good performance for them.
Yeah, not all losses created equal. Unfortunately, Mizzou taking too many of those unequal losses.
Right.
Sooners looking for it here. Back row attack. Be who you are and stick with it. That's what Ole Miss is doing. Meyer picks up another.
Another tie on the board. Yeah. And for Shayla Meyer, she has just battled over the course of this match, taken 26 swings. She now has 6 kills to show for it, and they have come here later in the match.
Yeah, she's in positive territory finally as that ball finds the net. And we are in our second out of 3 overtime sets. That'll make a coach nervous. These are not the kind of sets coaches want to see. Oklahoma, second chance. Set point. No.
And back-to-back errors from the service line for Amani Bush.
Cammie Neeson. Double figure aces on the season. Goes jump float. Hits Bush. Doesn't matter. Bush fights it off. Shelton with the kill.
Alexis Shelton, I'll tell you, when you play Oklahoma, never an easy rotation. There are times where you look at each other as an opponent and say, hey, in this rotation, push right here, let's score points, because you see a weakness across the net. And whether it's Bush or Alexis Shelton, one of them is always staring at you right through that net. Never an easy rotation against these Sooners.
Yeah, Shelton right now looking for a kill perhaps to end this set. Have to get an opportunity first. That ball is long. Oklahoma 27-25. No challenge issued. And it will be another deuce set victory. Oklahoma owns them both. Can they close in 4?
She's taking off around 2 feet from the setter. It leaves that middle blocker of the opponent guessing which way to go. And what it creates is them trying to dive in to the line of the attack. And those floating hands become an easy target to score on. And that's exactly what she did there on that third conversion that you saw.
Yeah, you look at the offensive balance of the Oklahoma Sooners. They certainly have the pin powers. And a couple of those deuce set victories. And talking with Aaron Mansfield coming in, Missy said, listen, confidence has to be given by the coaches, but it has to be led by the players. So the coaches can only take you so far. You have to have results in order to trust the process. Well, they've won 2 very close sets here.
Yeah, he talked about the fact that, yes, we all want to say trust the process, but it's much easier for players to trust that process when there are proven results. It started last year with the big upset of Texas, the fact that they were able to work their way into the NCAA tournament, win in the first round. All of that adds to that confidence of trusting what you're building. And that, I think, pays off in these really tight sets that we're seeing, the trust that they have in their system.
So we open the 4th set. Kevin Barnett alongside Missy Whittemore looking to see if Oklahoma can establish firm control of a set. So far, Ole Miss is the only one able to get away, and that was in the second. They won 25-17. Bush, nice overhand dig. Not the best swing, though, for the Oklahoma side. Oklahoma offense running. And there she is, Kelly Jo with the kill. Kelly Jo Burgess another, and that'll put her closer to double figures, now 8.
8 kills. What's even more impressive is just the 1 error, hitting .538, but she's proving she can do it on both sides of the ball tonight. She has 7 blocks already in this match. That is half of Oklahoma's total, as they sit at 15.5, nearly half. They sit at 15.5 blocks already in this match.
Tofono lays that one off for Meyer, who's been the hot hand as of late. Ole Miss with a little more balance. Now 27 attempts for her to 44 for Placide. Next highest would be 10. That would be Paw and Carlton. Whew, straight down.
We've seen that a few times from Alexis Shelton. She doesn't get a lot of opportunities on an open net. Everyone knows where she is. She is the player who you design your scout around. But every once in a while, a good, easy look for her, and you can see what she's capable of.
Yeah, looking to make a jump from that AVCA 3rd team All-American rating last year. 1st team All-SEC, number 12. Throwing that ball off the block, little reset. Good opportunity here. No. Thrown away by a bad free ball pass. Ole Miss wants that one back, 4-1.
Now, I will say Ole Miss had talked about the fact that they do want to pass the ball tighter to the net at times, particularly when their setter is in the front row, which she is. And so they do want to pass it up there to give her opportunities to attack. But the negative side of that then is obviously when it creates an overpass.
There's a nice big jump serve from Gibson, but it's hit through the block and down by Meyer once again.
Crafty shot by Meyer, facing angle, kind of swings across the body and just wipes that one, chops it off the edge of the block.
Meyer, one of just a couple of players on the roster still from when Bree Henry took over. Very difficult circumstances for Henry as she began her coaching career. She had to move offices. That was difficult enough to just be seen as something other than the assistant coach. Now a few years in, much more comfortable with where she's at. And that ball out of the back row, gaining some comfort offensively, are the Rebels.
I like this choice here by Tafono because she's pulled into left front. Look at the block for Oklahoma already had shifted all the way across the net, and that was a lot of open space for Placide to work with.
That's a great point. She's shown so much skill and the ability to locate that ball from a variety of locations. No matter where she's getting carried. This time to the outside. That'll be another kill. Streaking the hot hand, Meyer.
And because of that last set out of the back row to Placide, now that time Kelly Jo Burgess does not release to the right nearly as quickly. And there's a big hole in that block for Meyer. So that's what we're talking about when we say the middle third of the court driven. You start there to hold that middle blocker, and it creates space at the pins.
Overpass kill. Neeson with the serve and an emphatic finish by Carlton.
And as Coach Henry has said, invaluable experience for some of these freshmen, and particularly because they're playing alongside some really experienced players as well.
Another tough serve. Neeson got just enough of it. Boy, both these teams a little off balance in the off weirdo plays as that ball is absolutely crushed to 5-5.
Barnes was needing that one. It had been a while. And that time it's one of those out of system balls again, which is a hard get, but she's able to find some hands there. A long look to the sideline here from all Oklahoma blockers looking for assignments, how they're going to handle things.
Well, impossible to handle anything if the serve is going to go out. Service errors continue to pile up for both teams. That's now 13 on the OU side and 11 on Ole Miss's side, and the aces are not matching up, especially on the Oklahoma side. 13-2, and adding the other way now, that's going to be 12 service errors for the Rebels, but they do have 6 aces.
Yeah, and I honestly thought serving was such a strong suit for Oklahoma on Friday night as they hosted LSU. They had 6 aces, but only 9 errors. And even when they weren't creating aces, I thought they just did a great job of creating hard looks for LSU because of their serve. As we see yet another ball fly long, it's contagious now.
Yeah, and coaches always talk about winning that serve pass battle. Not only they have the 6 aces you mentioned, they only gave up 2. Here they find themselves on the reverse of that situation right now with the exact same numbers.
Yep.
And they find themselves in a very difficult match, as that'll be another ace for Ole Miss. They've given up 7 now.
And so we're seeing some extremes from the service line after 3 errors in a row. Now we see someone go back and put an ace into the corner there. Shayla Meyer has just been so good as this match has gone on.
Yeah, what's more impressive is how difficult the struggle was at the start for Meyer. She's turned it around. Beautiful turn down the line by Bush. Pulled that one across her left shoulder.
Bush has to pass it, gets herself outside the court. And Coach said that's an area where she actually likes to pass the ball when she's on the left side like that. And there are players out there who really prefer to be in serve receive and take that first ball and then get into a hitting motion and make it all one big swing.
Perfect connection left side.
Now we're just seeing the battle of the pins here as we go from Bush to Placide, both big arms.
Yeah, Placide looks like she's on pace for the 5th time this season to cross 20 kills, already with 16. That ball's long. Boy, both teams are, not only are they serving errors, Missy, but a lot of them are super long out the end zone.
Right. And honestly, you know, for Ole Miss, obviously going on the road, they played in a really large arena in Fayetteville on Friday night. This is a smaller gym type environment, and so 2 very different places. But I am surprised for Oklahoma to see this number of errors without the aces on their home court.
Yeah, and Bree Henry just there, I hope you caught her talking about hand contact position. If you lean your hand back, that thing's going to sail. You got to get flat with your hand as well. Scoop, right side. Dig by Oklahoma. Bush has to tip. Second opportunity, Oklahoma. Neither team able to connect offensively. Who will get a cut? There's a big one, but it's missed.
A long rally, not the finish they were hoping for. And again, for the pins for Oklahoma, they are asked to swing from both sides of the court. So they're, as right-handed players, taking balls on the left side, which is a little more natural, and then at times taking balls on the right side where that ball has to travel across their body, a much different look.
That one pushed through. Ole Miss there. And a reset doesn't work.
Another look at the defensive play. 21 there, Cameron Bradley in for right back, getting in on the defense. We've seen how good she's been at the service line for Ole Miss already.
Yeah, Bradley's been a difference maker. She'll take this pass a little bit off the net, and that'll squeak through the block. Myers getting the ball all over the place and creeping towards 200, now in double figures with 10 kills.
And Ole Miss does not hesitate to hang those back row attacks up, whether it be Meyer or Placide.
They spend a good amount of time in warm-ups passing just for that play. A service once again.
And all of a sudden, Ole Miss's numbers starting to look a little better. They've got 8 aces now on 13 errors. That's a pretty acceptable ratio.
Oh, yeah, you'll take that if you're Bree Henry. Another crush on that left side. Shelton asserting herself.
And that's what I like about Alexis Shelton. She's just a gamer in those must-have moments. She does not back away. Really nice push there by their freshman setter, Mega, to get it to the pin in a hurry. And again, only one block is up.
Yeah, good identification by Mega as well. Long distance for that middle to travel. Not getting there. Meyer soft into the block. Where do you go? Shelton's been hitting. And that ball ended up just wide. Boy, I question some of the speed of some of these sets. Maybe put it up high and let somebody take a big approach. If you have a Shelton or a Bush that's capable.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those cases where is their tempo working to their advantage? At times, I'm not sure it is because of how high flying these attackers can be.
Oklahoma's challenging that the ball was in.
So ball initially called out, which would have Ole Miss leading 12-9. And we send the replay booth to work once again with Brett Myers, and you at home. In or out, you make the call. This one's close.
Really close. And that's Tacoa Barnes from the right side, which coach told us of the Penn players, she's maybe the one of the 4 not as comfortable swinging from the right side. So again, set choice, really important here. And wow, this one is close.
Yeah, you're in the Hawkeye replay booth here once again. Little quad box here on a Sunday. And what say you, Missy Whittemore?
I'm thinking it grabs the tiniest piece of the line. I think that could be in.
What say you, Brett Meyer?
After review, the ball is in. Oklahoma wins the point and retains their challenge.
All right, so the officials who had a rough start to this one, getting overturned a number of times, but very good through the midsection. The coaches pick up another point here.
And you know, the goal is just to get the call right. And I don't think these officials mind if they have to overturn themselves. If it results in the correct call, everyone's happy. That's the goal.
Absolutely nothing to argue about there. That ball clearly on the line. So Oklahoma will take home the point, and that could be huge later in this set. What could have been a stretch out moment for Ole Miss recycles to just a 1-point lead. And another service error. The aggressive serving of Oklahoma not paying off today.
And again, it's interesting to watch Coach Mansfield and his decision as to whether or not to let those particular servers stay in and go for it, or do you make a more conservative choice and use a defensive sub?
Yeah, Sydney Thompson came in last time to avoid a jump serve, came in and put a float on. Joust one, Ole Miss.
And a 3-point spread actually feels like a pretty good gap in this match.
Good pass into the middle. There's that window, Kelly Jo Burgess.
And we don't see a whole lot of the Oklahoma middles behind, and that is a result of the system they run, the 6-2. They always have a right side attacker, but that time Burgess sneaking in for a quick right behind her setter.
Long distance set. Oklahoma block is there. They'll get a free ball opportunity. These are the ones you need to convert if you're an elite team. Instead, off balance. Good get. Staying alive. Right side long. So Ole Miss hangs on in another extended rally to get us to the technical timeout. They lead 15-12, down 2 sets to 1. Five-set victories in the NCAA tournament. Pandemonium ensuing after that. Missy Whittemore, that's what it's all about. Get to the playoffs and have success.
And that's why matches like today matter. These are so important. It is going to be a hotly contested SEC season. And realize the other thing these teams are playing for, as Coach Mansfield told us, they would like to have either a bye, a double bye, or at least a bye going into that new SEC tournament, which the top 4 will get the double bye, top 8 will get a bye. And that also is something that they are playing for.
Yeah, keep your eye on that in the calendar from Savannah, Georgia. Missy and I will be there for the early rounds of what is something back after 20 years of absence. I love a championship moment. I think all the conferences should do it. Ball to the outside. That is a beautiful connection. Tifono showing you her skills. Second year at the controls for Ole Miss, and that was a thing of perfection.
And Tifono does not shy away from the freshman Carly Paw there. 13 attempts now. She's killed 6 of them, doing a really nice job.
Yeah, been strong in those attacks as well.
Oklahoma
putting
is
her blocking
challenging
prowess to work. All right, looking to see if that ball was out. Another video review here. The officials are defeated so far in video reviews, I believe. Kevin Wendelboe, our R1, Brett Myers, our R2. As we take you inside the quad box. And we'll see where this ball went. Upper right, I think we're going to get a good look at it. As the ball flashed through the screen, the referee rewinding it. And it's really a nice system. You get a clear look at the line as well as the incoming ball from the right side. And that thing looks in.
Sure does. This has been a quality set, though, Kevin. When you take a look at the numbers in this current set, Oklahoma hitting 292 to Ole Miss's 333. So it's a set where both offenses finally clicking at the same time.
After review, the call is confirmed. Oklahoma loses their challenge.
The officials successful. Oklahoma loses 1 challenge. That ball confirmed in. And remember, if we do go to a 5th set, you will have an additional challenge added, but you can never have more than 2. So Ole Miss, if they have 2, they will remain with it. Oklahoma, if unused or unlost, I guess in this case, you could go back to 2. The hot hand of the moment, Shayla Meyer. Serving down the line to Bush. And they get themselves right out of that rotation. That was a trouble rotation last time for Oklahoma.
And that time Patterson back in the match for Oklahoma had the hot hand early in this one, has gone silent here for a while. Almost out of necessity, such a tight pass. I think all she could do is get it to the middle. And Patterson once again successful.
See that big brace on the right shoulder. Had shoulder issues earlier this year. Back in action this weekend. Outside, that one just through the left arm of Patterson.
And you see the speed of that attack makes it impossible for Oklahoma to get the triple block up. So fast to the pin, only 2 blockers, and then you see the thumb down swing there allows her that sharp angle without the 3rd blocker.
Bush targeted again, this time nice high pass. Opportunity for Ole Miss. Tip easily covered. Can they convert? Yes, they can. Deep corner winner for Gibson.
And that's what it looks like when Oklahoma does it well. The high, tight ball inside, but it takes a big leaper to convert on this. A smart tip takes the setter out of it right over the triple block. And so that's really the only option there. Not a lot of back row attack going for Oklahoma. I feel like that is a wrinkle that they will add as the season goes on. If you've got Alexis Shelton or Amani Bush standing there in middle back, that's another option, I would think.
Decent pass for the Rebels, dug up by Oklahoma. No swing to be had here. Thrown deep corner, run down. Bush left side. That'll do. Off the block. To the floor.
Just enough tempo, but room to work for Amani Bush as she's able to chop that one high off the block there. Oklahoma looking a little more composed offensively out of system here than they were earlier in the match.
So we're looking at another challenge.
Ole Miss is challenging a net fault.
So Ole Miss looking for a net fault earlier in that rally. Of course, internationally, they've gone to a system where you have to risk the rally by punching within 8 seconds the last action. Some of that due to confusion that ensues, and you don't have native speakers to one language in the international scene. Here you can check some other part of a rally, and part of the demand here, Missy, is communicating which part of the rally.
Yeah, these are the hard ones. These can be difficult for the officials to get to the correct point in the rally. And sometimes they're ambiguous by coaches on purpose because they really just want to slow down the match.
And you see Emily Bush there is going to turn, and her hair is going to touch the net, but that is not considered a net fault.
And again, it's a situation where they have 3 blockers up.
I think the official might be lost here in the matrix. Perhaps a black cat walked by or something. We'll have to see if he gets this dialed in, but you're along for the ride and getting... You're in the official's head right now. As the net already moving.
Yeah, and if it is Imani Bush's hair as she turns to make her transition off the net, that is, hair does not count as a net violation. I do think you see her hair whip the bottom of the net, but as you said, Kevin, it's moving prior to that. So is it earlier in this rally?
After review, the call is confirmed. No net.
Very good. No net violation. And so both teams have lost one challenge. They're at 1 apiece. Do you like the challenge system, Missy Whittemore?
I do. I mean, in big picture, I do. Obviously, I think everybody knows that there's small ways that it can improve over the course of time as we have more experience with it. But the idea behind it is let's get the calls right. And I think for the most part, we are.
That ball thrown over the top, and the Oklahoma run continues. So you already had kind of a de facto timeout with the challenge. Do you, does that allow Ole Miss a little more space here to utilize one of their 2 timeouts? I'm
giving it another point or 2 here. But again, I think Oklahoma has improved their way that they are turning out of system plays into points, looking more comfortable in that situation.
Trying to turn an in-system one there. That's just inside the block of KJ Burgess. Good one-on-one battle with Meyer on the other side.
And Meyer just swinging fearlessly out of the back row as she goes up and blasts the block.
Remember, Ole Miss trying to stay in this one, having lost that 3rd set, 27-25. They must have this set to remain in the match. Oklahoma's trying to close on their home floor. This hugely consequential mid-pack matchup. That ball too tight. but cannot be handled by the Rebels. 18 up.
Nice placement by Camille Gibson as she goes over the block, but knowing that the defender is sliding up the line there, she keeps the ball high, forcing the defender to try to play it above her head.
Yeah, Gibson is going to have now 7 kills. Check that, 6 kills. 3 players in double figures for that diverse Oklahoma offense. Ball thrown to the outside. It is inside the block and dug up. Then Winjosh style at the net. What a turn by Shelton.
And I feel like Shelton and Bush have gotten more aggressive on some of these high, tight balls at the net. High pointing that ball, using their athleticism up and over the block.
Yeah, that should be a power point moving forward. Frega with a very nice dig there to set up that on-net battle. I feel like these Pins of Oklahoma could really be something as they continue to develop through this season, Missy.
Yeah, younger setters, I think, you know, right now, they're a little undersized, so they've gone with the 6-2 system. I think the 3 rotations are more manageable for the setters. However, it does create 2 different looks for the attackers. And so I think, you know, they're still finding their balance there of how fast can they go while still capitalizing on the high-flying athleticism. But take a look at the kills today, because balance has been the name of the game for Oklahoma, and you see it all over the books today. Alexis Shelton with 12 kills, Imani Bush 10, Kelly Jo Burgess 10. And what's just as impressive is when you take a look at their efficiencies. Shelton at 310, Imani Bush also over 300, and KJ Burgess at 529. So the fact that they're able to spread the ball around really adds to the efficiency of these players, because when you've got a Gabby Placide on the other side of the net or a Shayla Meyer on the other side of the net who are going to put up big numbers, it's often going to be a battle for them to be able to do it efficiently because of the number of swings they take. Gabby Placide right now leading all players in the match with 17 kills, but hitting just above 100. She's taken 57 swings already today.
Yeah, good analysis of the hitting percentage there. It's led to a 5-1 Oklahoma run, and as a team in this set, they're hitting .406 are the Sooners. And remember, in the first 2 sets, they hit 125 and lost by 2. Then they hit 138 and lost by 8. They really turned it around offensively here in set number 4, but it's only enough for a 1-point lead at the moment. Ole Miss has also picked up their offensive production there at 323. Can Oklahoma continue here? Bush serving down the line into the Bermuda Triangle there. That typically results in an ace. Instead, it's an opportunity to put it away. Not yet. Another chance. Left side. Inside. The little rip set is a winner.
Nice little rip, as you called it, right into that gap. And here comes Alexis Shelton. You see her just take off. Big swing. She is such a fun player to watch.
In my mind, this one has to be in. Keep the pressure on. And indeed it is. Too tight to the net. Dug up once again. Tight. That's where they want it. But it's missed. Well, I do like hanging those hitters tight and close to the net, but there's a little tiny high wire act going on.
Yeah, and it's another piece of their offensive system that's a little bit unique to Oklahoma. I've seen them do this now for 2 years here in the Southeastern Conference. Noticed them doing that last year, and we just talked about the uniqueness of this system. A lot of the things they do with the drift routes, which we were able to show you, with the triple block, with what they do out of system, all very unique.
Shelton puts that one into the net. Did not touch above the level of the net at Ole Miss blocker, and just like that, we are tied, and it'll be timeout Oklahoma. The offshoot of it being so close, having all the ties, the back and forth in a set, is that you get to the end of a set and each team can really slow things down. They haven't utilized their timeouts earlier on. So we know that Ole Miss was looking for some balance in their offense. Gabby Placide was a given. Shayla Meyer has turned out to be that balanced, but it's been through the last couple of sets that's really come on.
This is a player who in set 1 was hitting well into the negatives, had not registered a kill, and all the credit to Shayla Meyer for hanging in there. She has been so tough mentally because of the load she's had to carry in serve receive, and she's been able to turn that first contact play and all that she's doing on the court into offense as well. Hard to believe she was in negative numbers, because now she has 11 kills, hitting 200 on 35 swings. What a nice turnaround for a really nice day for Shayla Meyer.
Shayla Meyer's mom played volleyball. Sister Kaylin plays. Dad and other sister are track athletes. I always loved the backstory of the athletic families who played and competed, who then pass that along to their offspring, who then value it in the same way and make it a part of their life journey and oftentimes college experience. So 20 all, race to 5. Rebels trying to stay alive. Sooners trying to go 2-0 on the season in conference play and defend their home court. Big side out here for Oklahoma. Bush, perfect pass. Crush on the outside. Shelton, that's just how you drew it up in the timeout.
And it's not possible without a perfect pass, because you can't have the middle charging in hard like this, holding the block. And then that's Alexis Shelton one-on-one against Tifono. Alexis Shelton all day.
Looking for some defensive support. Jasmine Ellison comes in, another Canadian.
So maybe finally choosing a little bit more of a conservative serve here. We're in the red zone.
Short serve. Almost had it. Instead, opportunity. Do you go to Shelton? You almost had to there. Better chance now. Shelton again. Inside the block and down. Caught a break there.
Tessa Jones a little slow to get up for Ole Miss. She was making a move to the right side there to try to close that block. And now they think we'll call a timeout.
So second timeout will be burned by Ole Miss here, now trailing by 2. That almost looked like Jones trying to kick the ball up as it went down the front of her.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And then try not to step on it.
Exactly.
And anyone who's ever stepped on a ball knows that falling that way is much better than having stepped on the ball itself.
You better believe it.
And also a strange play there.
Yeah, there were a couple of free ball opportunities there for Oklahoma. They don't convert the first one. Aren't able to get a pass like on top of the setter to convert that. And if there's one thing that I think, you know, that Oklahoma maybe has given up some easy opportunities here today, where they just don't handle that first contact quite in system. The second one, they're able to get a better look at.
Maybe you have a practice plan you could send to Aaron Mansfield. Yeah.
What I would be curious, next time we have Oklahoma, I'll bring my calculator and I'll be on top of this, but I'd be very curious to see the efficiencies of the pins, particularly from just the left side and just the right side, and their tendencies as to whether or not they're better from one pin or the other. It's obviously something that we could ask Coach Mansfield about, and I'm sure they're charting, but I don't have that number at my fingertips. I think it would be very interesting to see how much that goes into their set selection.
Oklahoma with an 8-3 run here, having been down mid-set 17-14. They are now in control at just the right moment. That defensive support almost was serving support there. Ellison nearly had an ace. Here she goes deep to the line. Completely different serve. And that ball goes inside the block, setting Shayla Meyer once again. Meyer now 12 kills.
Meyer just rock solid here late in this match.
Bush, another perfect pass, delivered to the middle, and it's wide left. Everything about that looked right except where the ball went.
It certainly did, and I think that is the shot that they're sort of giving KJ Burgess here. If the block has to guess, they're going to move to their left to give her the cross-body shot, and because of that, she kind of knows it's over there, but a little too much on that one.
Another opportunity here for the Rebels. Outside. Over the top, and now they're in control. Oklahoma has one timeout remaining, and they call it. Ole Miss responds once again like a couple of championship fighters here.
Yeah, they are not shying away. And for Oklahoma, it does feel like missed opportunities, though. They have had the opportunity to take big swings at the ball. We see an error outside by the middle and then an error down the line from the pin. And that's an error from the right side, which is interesting. As we were talking about moments ago, how many of those errors for the pins come from the right side? You know, how comfortable are they swinging over there?
Oh, look at the ties and lead changes throughout. It has been really tough. It's interesting that the second set with very similar numbers, they're exactly the same. 7 ties, 3 lead changes. That one got completely away. Here we have not. It was 26-24 Oklahoma in the first, 25-17 Ole Miss in a nice response to the second set, and bringing their hitting percentage from negative territory up to 364. And then it was 27-25, a 7-block performance by Oklahoma in the third. And here we find ourselves once again going back and forth with some runs. Moments ago it was 22-20, Oklahoma with the lead, and now Ole Miss with that 3-0 run. They are in control.
And somebody's going to have to go out and earn this fourth set, because again, a look at the numbers. Ole Miss hitting 333, Oklahoma 317 in this current set, so they're not giving points away.
Looking for stops or conversions. Where do you go? Left side. Tips are not going to do it. How about swings? The freshman, left side, high off the block, chased down. Never say die on the Ole Miss side. Everyone back to their positions. And the ball's long. We might have a challenge here. Certainly, I think you might slow it down if this ball is going to be an Ole Miss point. Beautiful save out to the one side of the court, leading to that attack. No challenge.
And an interesting rotation, because they have Alexis Shelton on the right where she can block against Meyer, but then she's not available for the left side attack, and they're depending on the freshman who comes up big. Huge swing by Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes with a massive swing in a match that has not featured confidence-filling moments for her. A few misses there is a huge confidence builder.
She actually had the final 2 kills of the match against LSU just Friday night, so she's a closer.
Yeah, I love the courage right there, too. With the set on the line once again. Block is there, covered. Meyer inside, and that'll do it. 25-23. Let's go the distance, shall we?
Why not?
We told you it's a highly competitive conference. We told you the match matters. We're going to go the distance and find a winner in the 5th next. Forced a 5th set once again. They played 5 on Friday night. They'll play 5 again here. Missy Whittemore. And Ole Miss is 1-2 this season. Oklahoma 1-1.
And with the addition of the tournament this year, this is the only shot that these two teams have at each other. They'll meet once. It happens to be in Norman, Oklahoma. And I tell you what, for Oklahoma, it doesn't get any easier. This is an opportunity for a win at home. They will play the top half of the SEC on the road, and we all know how difficult that is.
All right, Oklahoma winning the blocking game, 16.5 blocks. Ole Miss winning the service game, 8 aces. What determines this 5th set? Where do you see the momentum for each side?
Well, I think right now, I think the momentum is with Ole Miss. I just feel like Ole Miss is taking really big, confident swings at the ball, and I didn't feel that way for the way that Oklahoma ended that 4th set. So I think right now the momentum is with Ole Miss coming off of the win, but also I just feel like they're taking confident swings at the ball right now.
Yeah, Oklahoma trying to move to 4-0 all-time over Ole Miss, and Ole Miss trying not to go 0-2 on this, their first road trip in conference play. On the outside there, you're looking at Alexis Shelton of Oklahoma. She leads with 15 kills. Bush with 10, Burgess with 10. They are all double figures. That is it. 17 and 14 on the other side. Gabby Placide hitting 103. Hasn't really been as effective as of late. Number 15 in blue there. Shayla Meyer has been the hot hand, rising from negative territory to 238, collecting 14 kills. But Placide contributing in other areas. 3 aces and 2 blocks for the standout star.
And I certainly think that's something that Tofono understands as you see her go back and prepare to serve. That she understands the idea of the hot hand, and it's been Shayla Meyer, and once she feels that rhythm with somebody, she continues to feed them.
Yeah, Tofono misses that one there, but she has 41 assists, 8 digs, and 5 blocks. They've been trying to target her, and she has responded for Bree Henry. So we'll play to 15, win by 2. There is no cap on the score. And given this one, who knows how far it will go in a 5th set. And we are 1-1 on missed serves, which has been definitely a story. Now 15 per side.
And in this first surge here, it's going to be Placide in the front row as Meyer rotates back, and Bush just serves. So Alexis Shelton across the front row right now. We'll see which one of these players can do the most damage.
Now Shelton gets the ball, and she misses. That's damage to her own side.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry, it's 16-14 in service errors. OU picking up that last one, but still very closely contested in a category you don't want to be winning. Shayla Meyer to the back row in service, and another error. How do you manage this if you're a coach and you're watching your players continually miss serves? How do you communicate to them to make a change?
Yeah, I think right now, as a coach, you also have to know which zones they're the very most comfortable serving. And even if that might not be where you would ideally want to put it, at this point, you give them that zone. You've got to put them in a comfortable place.
Well, everyone's uncomfortable at the moment. It's like Thanksgiving with your uncle. Yeah. And both coaches might be losing hair.
And it's a battle for the service error trophy right now.
Flat float there onto Shelton outside. Opportunity. Rebels into the middle. Do they go middle again? No, outside instead. And that'll find the back line. Winner for Placide.
And I think you're just seeing the experience right now of Tofono. Shayla Meyer handles first contact so well that it gives Tofono options. She goes to the middle early, and then that second ball pushes it right past the middle, holds the block.
Bad pass. Oklahoma laid off right next to the hitter, and the block was waiting. Placide makes another play, 5-2.
And based on this pass, I think everybody knows where this ball is going. The block is waiting, and this is a situation where I feel like a higher ball might work to the advantage of Alexis Shelton. Let her go up and get it.
Yeah, the paces of the offenses have been accelerating inside of women's volleyball, but not always to the better. 5-2 timeout already called by Oklahoma. Of course, this is a sprint, a much different rhythm to a 5th set, Missy Whittemore. This is where Ole Miss found themselves. They were trailing 6-2 against Arkansas. Never really recovered in that match.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see in the 5th set a team will make an early surge and then you see a response from the other team. That was not the case. You know, Ole Miss did not respond from that early surge, and that's probably a conversation they're having right now. Like, hey, let's keep our foot on the gas tonight. Let's not allow them to have that surge and get back into this. We're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, the aggressor is certainly them right now behind Shayla Meyer, who you see in there, and Gabby Placide, who's made a couple of plays. Her stat sheet is full. 3 aces, 6 digs, 3 blocks, 18 kills.
And I think opportunities in conference on your home court, I mean, they're hard to come by, and they're very hard to come by for Oklahoma, who's going to have to, as we've mentioned, go on the road against the upper half of the conference. This is not a schedule that necessarily favors them, and this is an opportunity that they have to dial in on right here.
Yeah, you're right. This is a Jim J. Bullock kind of moment. You can take him to steal here. You're trying to get one on the home court in conference play. Mentioned that they're going to have all those tough home court matches, are the Rebels. You'd love to win on the road. Lace down the line. Oklahoma again gives a free ball. Looking for a conversion. The Rebels go to the back row. Can't do it. Too low. That one high and tight instead, but it's a net violation that gives another point to Ole Miss.
And again, we're in this rotation. Barnes in the front row. She's the freshman, and we do know she's more comfortable at the left pin, but can you afford to leave Alexis Shelton over on the right side where you might not be able to as easily get her the ball?
Bonanno trying to hit that one to the back line, sends it errantly out. Now boasting 33 service errors in this match between the two clubs, separated by just one. So equal opportunity offenders as Harper Hall steps in. She's been serving tough as of late. Be a magical moment here. Instead, it's a good pass and a perfect side out. Well done.
And if you don't know much about the sport of volleyball, the fact that Cami Neeson has never passed the ball tonight in her serve receive actually speaks to how good she is in serve receive, because there has been a very precise attempt, and they've been pretty successful with keeping her out of the serve receive pattern. They have just gone after Meyer all night long, so they are absolutely trying to keep that ball away from Cami Neeson.
Bradley misses that one. 17 apiece in the service category of errors. Ole Miss is giving away points here. Oklahoma scored 4. They're all service errors from Ole Miss. That's a wild stat right there. They've scored every point in this 5th set, have the Rebels. And that trend continues as that one becomes a souvenir.
Nice deep corner swing there by Placide. No chasing that one down, up into the stands.
So at 8, you take a side change. In a lot of the modern arenas, it really doesn't matter. Some of the older arenas used to have windows on one side or strange lighting. Everybody's pretty consistent nowadays.
Wow.
Look at the risk and reward.
And for Oklahoma, the reward has been minimal. Not the numbers you would hope for. Yeah, I would say not the numbers you would hope for on your home court. You would expect if you're going to have a serving advantage, it's going to be on your home court. Ole Miss actually told us that they've been measuring the speed of their serve, and they feel like they're serving 3 to 5 miles per hour faster in practice. They wanted to see that translate to a game. And so that's something they continue to work on.
There's a smooth side out for the Sooners. And for Ole Miss, you're happy just to have served in. You missed 2 of 3 coming into that one.
Amani Bush now in the front row. And right away, no surprise, they go to her.
Into the match, Sydney Thompson. Thompson will set here. It's her 21st birthday, trying to get a victory on that day. Did all she could. That ball hit long.
And you see the placement of the ball from Thompson there. That's not a miss. That's where they choose to put those out-of-system balls. You would think that might be like tight and inside, but that's what Oklahoma's going for.
Jump float coming. Decent pass. Bush right side swing, and you see why she's so highly touted. That ball, late call looks like. Ball went down. And then called into the net, it seems, on the follow-through.
We may get a challenge.
Yeah, net called. Both teams have 2 challenges here, having been awarded 1 more here in the 5th. Ole Miss put that one through the tape. Oklahoma on the scramble, high inside. Into the 3-woman block, fearless swing from Shayla Meyer.
And I think you have to credit the coaching staff at Ole Miss for being in the ear of Shayla Meyer over the course of this match. With the start she had, you know, you wondered how she would respond, but obviously getting lots of positive talk from the bench and giving her the confidence to keep swinging.
And giving her team an 11-5 lead. Oklahoma will call a timeout on that. Hitting high and hard will benefit your side. And Meyer now 15 kills, hitting 244. Well, if you took away just that first set, she'd probably be north of 350.
Absolutely.
Meyer in set 5, already 4 kills. And you see the distribution there. It takes at least 2. You'd like to have 3, but it takes at least 2 if you're going to be a quality side.
And right now, Placide and Meyer are the 2 getting it done. Really interesting for a group that has in the past, I think it speaks to the play of Tofono. This is a team who has had middle blockers who were just such a huge part of their offense in years past. And now to see Tofono in a system where they're really relying on their pins, and to see her setting choices and her ability to run the offense just evolve with the pieces they have, I think speaks to her maturity.
Taylor Gregory with a lot of words for the team there, assistant coach. And the staff that all knows each other from their Long Beach State days. In a good position here in the 5th set. It would split this weekend road trip for them. They'd be 1-1. Oklahoma would also be 1-1. Both teams did a good job of scheduling, came out of strong records in pre-conference action. Outside, down the line, dug up high. Is it enough? Yes, Ole Miss runs it down once again. Gibson, he got it last time. This time it's over the right. Bush. Back to Gibson. Ole Miss frustrating them. Each side looking for a clean swing. That is not going to do it. Outside. Into the block. Still alive. Now down. Another point for the Rebels.
And I'll tell you what, some small ball stuff happening for Ole Miss. Early in that rally, there was a moment where Tofono could have picked up the off speed, but Neeson steps in and takes it so that Tofono can set that ball. It makes all the difference in the world. And then Tofono in on the block to finish it. She has not allowed them to pick her apart.
Bad pass, Oklahoma, trying to throw it high and tight. They do get a good quality cut at it. Back row. Was there a touch? No, point Oklahoma. You know, earlier in that last play, Missy, good point by you early on about the pace and off plays. Setting fast to the outside when there are 2 blockers standing there resulted in an Ole Miss point.
And that time, I think Placide, they could lead her just a little more, set that ball out in front of the 3-meter line and let her go get it. I think that one was just a little behind her, and so it sails.
Not much to worry about yet. 12-6, the big advantage. Nice delivery outside to Tofono. Boy, she got her shoulders underneath that one.
She did, and this is just all about placement for Shayla Meyer, seeing the court, knowing where the defense is. You know, because this team likes to drop 3 into block, it opens up some room there in left front.
Boki back to serve. 3 hitters in the front, but she misses. Seems like they don't need that tough service right now. You're winning the long rallies. You're doing a good job in transition to win those rallies. Give yourself a shot. But you do have some lead to work with. Bush to the back row.
Neeson finally gets one.
Tipped right into the middle, and that's one of the rare tips or pushes that have gone down, and it pushes Ole Miss to a match point opportunity. For the win. Oklahoma off balance.
Not
and
yet.
Violation. Negates an opportunity there. So second match ball upcoming for Ole Miss. Who do you set here, Missy? Look at your lineup.
I'm finding Alexis Shelton, and it's going to be in right front because of the fact that they'll keep Barnes on the left side. So it's an interesting matchup over there because she's opposite Placide.
All right, Placide might get it here and see if she can put it away to finish it off before transition. Placide with the push, no go. Shelton, got it, there it is. Good call, Missy Whittemore.
There she is, and it's a hard matchup because she's opposite of Placide right now. Not only are they being asked to take big swings, but they have to defend one another.
Third match ball. Still plenty of room. Rebels, bad pass. Beautiful dig. Frega, can she get this one too? Yes, she can. Runs it down by the pole. And that ends up being the difference. Ole Miss wins.
Interestingly, they had switched Alexis Shelton out to left front to get her the swing they were looking for. But the defense of Ole Miss keeps the ball alive, and it's Placide. She finished the match with big numbers, and she finishes it, or excuse me, she started the match with big numbers, and she finishes it with a kill.
Placide, her 21st kill, ends up being the match winner.
Here it is, out of system, and as we said, coming into this fifth set, it felt like Ole Miss was the team.